Hello, welcome to a new edition of the Right Wing Populist Podcast. I am the Right Wing Populist. So today I want to talk about Ben Shapiro. You know, the Israel firster, the guy who goes, facts don't care about your feelings. Ben Shapiro. It looks like the Daily Wire may be in some trouble. There's some information that's come out that suggests that it may be a little bit in free fall, so I want to discuss that. I also want to talk about who Ben Shapiro really is, what he represents in the conservative movement, his history, how I think, he's sort of a bad faith actor in a lot of ways. But before we get into that all, I need you to subscribe, folks, whether it's on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever the hell you listen to your podcast, it should be available. I would greatly appreciate it. And if you are listening on the YouTubes, like and comment. It helps with the algorithm. I would greatly, greatly appreciate it. I'm an independent content creator, folks. I would really appreciate the support. I don't want to start an OnlyFans. Don't make me drop the link in my bio. I don't want to do it. I don't want to objectify myself. I'm sure many of you people out there would love it if I did. Got nothing to be ashamed of, but I don't want to do it. I just want to talk in a microphone for like 10 to 20 minutes, 4 or 5 times a week, and So yeah, I'm just kidding. In all seriousness, though, I really do appreciate the support. The listenership and the viewership's been great the last couple of weeks. Let's keep it going, folks. Let's keep it going. So yes, Ben Shapiro, the creator of the Daily Wire, he, for those who don't know, he started off as basically kind of a never-Trumper. He was working at Breitbart, and Steve Bannon has talked about this. He was unhappy with the direction of Breitbart once Andrew Breitbart himself actually died, and Steve Bannon essentially took over the outlet. And when Trump came on the scene, Breitbart became a very pro-Trump outlet. And Ben Shapiro wasn't happy about this, so he decided to essentially sabotage Breitbart and sabotage his position at the outlet. Because what happened was, during the 2016 campaign, Trump was holding some press conference, I think, at Mar-a-Lago. And at the time, Corey Lewandowski was, I believe, the campaign manager, or certainly one of the top campaign, maybe the co-campaign manager. And I think the press conference had ended and Trump was leaving. And then some dumb female reporter went up to Trump and was like grabbing at him. And Corey Lewandowski basically, he didn't push her or anything. He just kind of like nudged her away. And this became a huge scandal. Like, oh my God, the Trump campaign manager, he touched a female reporter. Oh my God, the sky is falling. And Trump was put under immense pressure to let Corey Lewandowski go. I don't think he actually did, at least not at the time. He did eventually. Corey Lewandowski did not remain the campaign manager, but I don't think he was let go because of this incident. Might have been, but Trump, he kept him around for a little bit after this. I remember that. But when this incident, quote unquote, this nothing burger of an event happened, Ben Shapiro used that as a pretext to leave Breitbart. And that's how he created the Daily Wire, essentially. Now, you want to remember, folks, when the Daily Wire was first created, it was created to be basically like a never-Trump outlet. That's what it was. People don't remember this because Shapiro's been so good at hiding his tracks. But Ben Shapiro was a never-Trumper. That's why he sabotaged and left Breitbart. Because Breitbart was a very pro-Trump outlet. And Ben Shapiro famously was saying throughout the 2016 election that Trump had no chance of beating Hillary Clinton. In fact, there's a famous clip that's gone viral lately. Maybe I'll put it at the end of this podcast. Of Shapiro predicting on election night that Trump was going to lose. He was going to lose Florida for sure. Hillary was going to get over 300 electoral votes and that Trump was done. Obviously, though, Trump won, and this created a problem for little Ben Shapiro. He had created this new outlet, and he had positioned himself as a never-Trumper throughout the 2016 campaign, but now that Trump was the president, he wasn't going to be able to successfully run, a conservative outlet being anti-Trump. That just wasn't going to happen. So, Shapiro, even though he made it clear that the biggest reason he wasn't a Trump supporter was because of Trump's character. There were some policy reasons too. I don't want to be disingenuous. Partly because of Trump's being far less hawkish. That was the other big reason why Ben Shapiro didn't like Trump, but a lot of the reasons he stated was Trump's character. That Trump, well, he's a crass person, he uses curse words, he cheated on his wife. Some of those things are bad things, don't get me wrong. But once Trump became president, he shifted to become very pro-Trump during the first term and up until now, basically. Now, to be fair to Shapiro, Trump did govern in a way that you would expect Shapiro to be more supportive of. Like Trump was and has continued to be one of the most pro-Israeli or pro-Israel presidents we've ever had. Whether you agree with that or not, that's just a fact. So one can understand why Shapiro, just because of that, would have shifted in favor of Trump. But even after Trump left the White House the first time, after 2020, after the rigged election, so to speak, he shifted away toward Trump and started pushing DeSantis. And he was a DeSantis backer at the beginning. It wasn't until it was so obvious DeSantis had no chance, then Shapiro shifted back toward Trump. And now he's a staunch Trump supporter, for the most part. And the problem, what he's doing now is so disingenuous. He's using Trump as a way to promote establishment agendas. And that's been a problem of Trump, both of Trump's terms, but especially the second term. They're using Trump's support from the base to try to use Trump as a way to get support for policies that are not generally popular, but it's what the establishment wants. Like being hawkish toward Venezuela, being hawkish toward Iran, stuff like that, being very pro-Israel. And this is where we get to today, and it was reported today by AF Post, which is a very popular account on X, that Ben Shapiro has been losing an average of 1,000 subscribers on YouTube daily, and he's lost over 30,000 subscribers in the past 30 days. And, they have the numbers. It's true. You can look at the numbers. It's bad. The Daily Wire has been losing subscribers. So the question is why? Well, it's so obvious to me, at the very least, that one of the biggest reasons is why is that Shapiro has been exposed for caring more about Israel than the United States. And he went after Tucker Carlson, even Megyn Kelly, Candace Owens, at the Turning Point event like a week or two ago. And he was actually booed at times during the speech, although he was generally applauded. I don't want to be disingenuous. Generally speaking, he was applauded. But there are a lot of people who subscribed to the Daily Wire who were Ben Shapiro fans because they thought Shapiro was America first. They thought more or less he was part of Trump's agenda. Now, there are parts of Trump's agenda that obviously Shapiro agrees with, but I'm not really talking about Trump's performance in office. I'm really talking about the type of ideas Trump campaigned on. And that is something that Shapiro does not actually support. Shapiro does not necessarily support a lot of America first because he thinks America should be more involved in the international scene, including having, undying support for Israel. And with no caveats, no strings attached, but just complete support for Israel no matter what. And obviously, most Americans don't really agree with that. They think that, Israel can be an ally, but Israel doesn't, it shouldn't be unquestionable. We should be able to question why we're so supportive of Israel. These are reasonable questions. And when he goes after Tucker Carlson, he goes after Megyn Kelly, he goes after Candace Owens, which I don't mind. Candace Owens is a crazy bitch, but the other two I do mind. When he goes after these people and makes people question, well, why is this guy cares more about Israel than he does the United States? I mean, Ben Shapiro, he does these ridiculous interviews with Bibi Netanyahu, and he's just slobbering all over him, and he's continuing to back Trump. He's trying to stoke the flames of us striking Iran again because that's what Israel wants. So, Shapiro's going to start pushing the Trump administration in that direction and try to start pushing public support in that direction. It's just so disgusting. And again, and I played a clip a few days ago of Steve Bannon. Ben Shapiro, he's never been a Trump guy. He just hasn't been. He's now using Trump as a way to try to get his neocon agenda through. That's what the establishment is doing. Ben Shapiro isn't the establishment. Let's be clear about that. Why do you think Facebook never censored the Daily Wire during all these years, even though they've censored many other conservative outlets, like Breitbart, for example? Breitbart was censored by Facebook and Twitter when Twitter wasn't owned by Elon. The Daily Wire never really was. What's up with that? This guy's supposed to be the conservative crusader, but the establishment loves him. It's like, yeah, it's because he's a neocon. He's an establishment hack, Ben Shapiro. And he's been very clever up until now about trying to hide that fact, and he's using Trump as a shield. But people are seeing through it, folks, and that's why his subscriber count has gone to shit on the Daily Wire. His numbers aren't even that good anymore. He used to be one of the top most. He used to be the biggest political podcaster, explicitly political podcaster, not just adjacent, but in terms of like being not like the Joe Rogan podcast, which is sort of semi-political. In terms of being a pure political podcast, he used to be the biggest by far, probably from about 2017 to 2020-ish. He was by far the biggest one, certainly the biggest conservative one in terms of podcasts. That's no longer the case. Tucker's overtaken him. Candace has overtaken him. I think Megyn Kelly's overtaken him. And that's a good thing, not a bad thing, because Ben Shapiro at his core is a neocon, whether you agree with that or not. But that's not the Trump agenda, and that's not what Republicans actually want. So it's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. I used to be a fan of Ben Shapiro. I regret it. I went to Politicon to see him debate Cenk Uygur. In fact, in one of the video feeds, you can actually see me because I was in one of the front row seats, which is kind of cool. But I went to one of his speeches. I watched a Q&A with him. Used to be a big fan of his. But I didn't realize, and this is partly because Israel wasn't the hot topic it is now, but I knew obviously he was supportive of Israel. I don't have a problem with that. But I do have a problem with it if you're going to support Israel, even if it goes against the interests of the United States. And I think Ben Shapiro does that, and I think the Iran strikes is a great example of that back during the summer. Those strikes didn't benefit us. They benefited Israel. Iran is not a threat to the United States. In fact, it's in our interest to try to get along with Iran, but we can't do that because of our relationship with Israel. And Israel has been was begging Trump for, the whole time he was back in office to get him to bomb Iran, using the nuclear weapons as a pretext for it, and eventually Trump caved and he bombed Iran. Which is a shame. He shouldn't have done it. So, well, it's whatever. Look, Ben Shapiro is a hack. He's an Israel firster, and conservatives shouldn't listen to him. So it's good that he's losing subscribers. It's a good thing, not a bad thing. So anyway, I think I'll play the clip of him being embarrassed in 2016, just because I want you to show how wrong. And he's also terrible at making predictions. Like, his electoral predictions are terrible. He predicted Mitt Romney was going to beat Obama. He was wrong. He predicted Trump was going to lose to Hillary. He was wrong. I think he did predict Biden was going to beat Trump, although that election was a little suspect of an election, but let's not get into that. But he's just terrible. Anyway, I'll play the clip at the end, but thanks for listening, folks. That's going to be it for today. Please, again, subscribe, whether it's on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify. I would greatly appreciate it. And again, like and comment if you are listening on YouTube. It helps a lot with the algorithm. We should be back tomorrow for the weekly wrap on Saturday, folks. I hope you have a great rest of your day. I hope you have a great weekend. I hope you fall in love. I hope you stay in love or fall out in love if they're a bad person, I guess. But anyway, folks, take care. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bigger cities would probably be coming in later in North Carolina, right?
Yeah, I think that's right. I think that they count the rural votes first, and so that's why you see these big jump to leads for Trump. The stuff that I'm seeing online, I mean, Sean Trent, who's sort of the elections expert over at Real Clear Politics, says it's going to be a real early night. He says it'll be Hillary nationally by 5 or 6 points.
Is he rigged, though?
Everything's rigged. Everything's rigged. As we like to say, it's a rigmarole. So if you look at there are counties. Yeah,
Is he talking under a freeway or under an airplane? Yeah, I thought Ben made a little more money. He's living in Hawthorne underneath the runway with flights.
You know
going
what
over.
He can use some Louder Crowder shirts.
Did his feed just go?
No, he's still there. He's just very
right.
quiet.
I'm here.
Oh, you shouldn't insult a Jewish man and insinuate that he's not wealthy.
No,
Ben is very wealthy.
Louder with Crowder. Shop.com.
Louderwithcrowdershop.com. That's right. We have those shirts. Okay, so Ben, you were saying, so this guy, he's saying that it looks. You think Hillary's going to win Florida and North Carolina?
Yeah, I mean, right now there are certain counties where Marco Rubio is running 10 points up on Donald Trump. In Florida, they're saying that the voter turnout. I guess the exit polls earlier said that the voter turnout was like 39% minority in Florida, which is really bad news for Trump. He needs heavy non-college educated white voter turnout.
We got to get rid of the minorities, Ben.
Well, I mean that's what I've been told by all of the alt-right folks. So unfortunately, I'm one of those minorities according to them. So that's exciting.
All right, but, minority. You're translucent.
The good news is Nate Silver says that there's a 54% chance that Republicans maintain the Senate tonight, which to me is more important than Trump winning because I don't think Trump is going to win.
I think they will maintain the Senate. Don't you?
I do. I think that Richard Burr is going to win in North Carolina. I think that Kelly Ayotte may win in New Hampshire. I think we'll lose Illinois. I think we'll lose Pennsylvania. I think we'll lose Wisconsin. It's about as close as you can get without losing the Senate. But I do think that Republicans are going to maintain the Senate, which is a good thing, obviously. I would not be surprised, by the way, if in the end Donald Trump's electoral vote count is higher than Mitt Romney's, but his popular vote count is much worse than Mitt Romney's percentage-wise. The way that I called this yesterday was I said that when I did my map estimate was Clinton 321 and Trump 216 or